Hello, everyone. Bernice here. Yes, I was almost kidnapped, harmed, and even worse. This was in the 1960s. I was about 13, 14 years old. My friends knocked on the door and asked if I can come out and hang out with them. I said, Mom, can I go outside for a while and hang out with my friends? Mom said, You're not going anywhere until you wash these dishes, clean up this kitchen, and mop this floor. So my friends left. And I hurried, cleaned up the kitchen, mopped the floor, washed the dishes. And when I finished, I said, Mom, I'm finished. I'll be back. And I ran out of the door. So I went searching for my friends, looking around in the neighborhood, the places they may go or hang out or whatever. But I couldn't find them anywhere. So I thought to myself, they probably went to the carnival. We've been to the carnival a couple of times. There was always 3 or 4 of us, and the carnival is about 3 miles away. So I decided I'm going to the carnival. That's where they are. So I started to make my way to the carnival, going down these little side streets, and I even cut through a couple little alleys, trying to make some shortcuts to get there. So I'm walking along, and all of a sudden, I look around and this car is following me. It was on a quiet street. Nobody was around, no traffic or anything. I was going through these little neighborhoods, cut through a little short alley and so on, and this car was still following me. And I looked around and I'm like, why is this car following me? There was nobody around, just me. He pulls up alongside of me. He says, I said, get in the car. And I'm oh my God, I was kind of stunned and frightened. And I just kept walking. And he kept riding along right alongside of me. I says, get in the car. And I started walking faster and faster. And he's still riding alongside of me as I'm walking on the sidewalk. And I decided to go around his car and cross over on the other side of the street. He tried to block me. He turned his car to block me from crossing the street. But I got across the street and I started jogging faster and walking faster. He turned around and he was still following me. I was really scared. My heart started beating so fast. I'm like, what does this man want? He kept yelling, get in the car. I was so scared, and I started practically running really fast, and finally I got to the carnival. He was still following me at the carnival. I went inside searching all around for my friends, and they were nowhere to be found. I came out. He was parked there waiting for me to come out of the carnival. Nobody knew where I was. I ran out of the house. I didn't tell nobody. I just said, Mom, I'll be back. There was no cell phones in those days. I didn't see any payphones around. Nobody knew where I was. He started following me as I came out of the carnival. And then I came upon this bus stop. These people were standing there waiting for the bus. And I went and stood next to the people at the bus stop. And the bus finally came, and I looked up at the bus and I said, I hope it's going my way, kind of. So I got on the bus, sat down, and I looked out of the window, and he sped off really, really fast. But my heart was beating so fast, and I kept looking out of the window, wondering if he's following the bus. I didn't know. I was so scared. And finally, the bus got to a point where it was going to turn, and I had to get off because that's as close as I could get near my home. I got off the bus. I was still 5 or 6 blocks away from where I lived. I got off the bus and I just started running, and I started looking around as I was running to see if he was following me, if he followed the bus, or if he was anywhere. I was just so scared. I was so traumatized. I just ran those 5 or 6 blocks. I just kept running and looking around to see if the man was following me. And finally, I got home. I was so traumatized. I was scared to death. I didn't know whether he was parked somewhere. He actually followed and found out where I lived, if he was parked down the street or around the corner. I did not know. I was so scared. So scared. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell my brothers or sisters because I knew if I told my mom and dad, I would get in a big trouble, really, really bad, because I knew I wasn't supposed to be going that far, going anywhere like that. I didn't tell my brothers or sisters because I knew that they would tell on me and I would really get it. So I was so traumatized I wouldn't even go outside. I was afraid to go to school. When I went to school, I was looking all around. I was so nervous, still thinking that he may have been parked around the corner or he found out where I lived. When I got home from school, I would stay in the house. I would not even go outside. My mom said one day, she says, "Why don't you go outside with the other kids?" I said, "I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go outside." But I still would not tell my mom or my dad what happened. Still would not tell any of my brothers or sisters because they would tell on me and I would get it. For a long time, it was a long time, I was so traumatized, and finally, I did finally go outside after a long time. My brothers told me that their friends said, "I didn't know you had another sister." That's how secluded I was. They told them that they didn't know that my brothers had another sister, which was me. So I'm telling this story hoping that it'll help someone, some kid, some teenager, some young adult, some of you old folks. Never go off by yourself without telling someone where you are. Always let someone know where you are. It's not safe. Even if you think something, you're going to get in trouble or what, don't go off alone or go off with your so-called friends. And it's always let somebody know. In those days, we didn't have cell phones. I didn't have no cell phone or nothing. Nobody knew where I was. I didn't tell nobody. I was all alone, 3 miles away from home. I don't know what could have happened to me. Anything. It could have been the worst thing. Only God knows. Hoping that my story will help someone. Please never go alone. Always let someone know. Safety in numbers. Hoping this will help someone again. But I'll be back again with another story or another video or another experience. But until then, God bless us all. Bye-bye.